This is the lock nest, and the lock I have for you today is the Bricard SuperSûreté. SuperSûreté can be translated to super security. The name must be pronounced SuperSûreté and not SuperSûreté. SuperSûreté in French will mean something like super sour. So if I like my candies super sour, I clearly prefer my locks to be secure. That said, Bricard is a company which was founded under the name Sterling in 1782 by Louis Charles Sterling. In 1829, Eugène Bricard joined the company at the age of 16 as an apprentice, and in 1835, he bought the Sterling ST brand. On older version of Bricard locks, you can still see the ST letters, like on this one, here on the key, and here, Bricard ST Paris. The patent for the SuperSûreté design was filed in 1924 and granted in 1925. The system is very easy to recognize with its characteristic 3 side keys. As you can see here, they are beating here, here, and here. The design is 100 years old and has more or less not changed since the first version. It has a very interesting feature like the ability to have a mastering system where the master code is on the key and not on the lock, like with standard wafers or pin tumbler locks. We'll see exactly why later. So here we have 3 different locks. So the first one is an early version of the lock. So you can see there is the still older name ST, and we can read Bricard ST Paris here. You can see the key is not the shape you currently see in modern version of this lock, which looks more like that. So this means that this is an early version of these locks. However, the key is not exactly like the one which is visible on this advertisement, which was published in 1927. So I think this lock is a little bit older than the advertisement. So it's probably a version from the middle of 1900s. So this one works perfectly like the others. So you can see. And here. So the second one has a key which looks a lot like the first one. We can see here. The shape is nearly the same, but there is a main difference is that this one is made of stainless steel. So this is a lock which is probably from the third quarter of the 20th century, so 900s. And the last one we have is this one with this characteristic key. So now probably you have seen key with this shape, and this is characteristic for this type of lock. You can see here there is a difference between the both keys, is that this one has a flange here, while this one has a groove. And in recent version of the locking system, the keys have grooves here. You may note that you can have a key with this shape, but with a flange between this version and this version. And for really recent version of this locking system, you can have this exact same key, but you will have a ball here, just at the corner inside, which in fact just interact with a wafer, and mechanically that doesn't change really how the locks work. So all the locks here work more or less in the same way. Here it's a design which is way different. You can see the look is a little bit different, but the whole system hasn't changed since the beginning, really. And these two ones looks a lot like the same, but they are not from the same generation. You can see here we have some manufacturing, which is a way rougher than one we expect from a modern version of this kind of locks. You can see you have marks here, here, and here. And this is something you will not find with the new way of manufacturing. Now we will take a look at how the lock works inside. So it's a standard locking system. You can see here, this is the part which goes to the exterior. This is the part which goes to the interior. The mechanical system, the protection for the key, the locking system is the same inside and outside. And if you want to disassemble this lock, the things to know is that you have to pull this part. In fact, sometimes it's very hard to pull. You remove it like that, and after you will see under, you usually have a screw on both sides, which allows you to disassemble the locking system to remove this part. One thing important, this lock is not made to be disassembled. And most of them, you will not be able to remove the inner core without having to drill some parts. And the thing really important is that if you try to disassemble completely, you will probably break the lock. So what I've done is that I've opened one, and I can confirm you, I break it, but we will be able to see what's inside. So when you remove the cylinder inside, I will zoom a little bit. Yeah. When you remove the cylinder, here you will have the lock body, and often you may have some piece of metal which is punched inside, and you will have to cut to be able to remove the system. So here is the system which makes the connection between the core, the inner barrel, and the mechanical locking system. So I can remove it. And now, since the screws are removed and the blocking system for the inner barrel, because there is an outer barrel and then there is an inner outer barrel, and then there is the inner barrel with the locking system and the wafers. So here I will just push to remove the barrel. So inside you have a front plate which goes here usually, like that. You will see that there is a gap here. It's because I've already removed one wafer to be able to show you. So how it works, in fact, when the key is not entered, then the wafers will be visible at the top and on the side, depending on the keying system. And as soon as you will enter the key, then the wafers will move. And I will show you how they move by removing the system inside. So here we can see clearly the outer barrel and the inner barrel. In some version, older version, you may not find this kind of small teeth here. It may be completely flat, but out of this difference, everything is exactly the same. So in fact, when there is no key in the system, then you see here the wafers are visible outside and block the rotation. And you can see too that there is an angle here, like that, which means that the wafer will grab in the system here. You know, there is an angle, like it will grab, and probably it will behave a little bit like a spool. So you have to overcome this kind of thing. Something interesting with this locking system is here we have the wafer, and here we see there is a ball. The ball is where the key will interact. They use a ball to prevent wear of the wafer and wear of the key. And you can see that if I push on the ball on the left, then it moves vertically. So the direction where the key push and the direction of the wafer is different, and we see how. So if you want to disassemble this part, you may be very careful, because when you try to remove the this plate here it's extremely thin here, and there's a lot of friction on these poles. So there are a lot of chance that when you will try to remove them, you will break it in two, and it's what happened to me. So I've opened one already. I will zoom on it just a second to have a good view. Okay. So here we can see exactly how it works. Okay, so here we can see all the systems are the same. It's easy. They have to manufacture only a few wafers for the different bidding, and then they can use all the same parts to make the lock. So here we can see the spring, which is here. It's not the real spring because the spring is loaded. I may not be able to keep it in position, so I put I may say a fake spring. And here we have the wafer and we have the ball. So in fact, when the key enters, it pulls the ball on the side like that, and the wafer moves. Oh, you see, it's broken. I tried to glue it, but I broke it. So it moves up and down. Now, if you want to make the same thing from the other side, it's pretty simple. You take your wafer, you move everything on the other side, and you put your wafer in the other direction. So the spring doesn't need to be changed. The position can be the same, and the system will work exactly the same. So when you push on the ball here, the wafer will move. And then if you want to use the third side of the key, then you can just move it like that. So you put the spring here, which is the other position of the spring, and you put your wafer in the other position like that, and you have the third system, which works exactly the same like we have seen with the spring. So in fact, you need only to have two places to put the spring, and you will have a system which works. So this is a system which is really interesting at the time, is because you can have with modern ones up to 21 position for a wafer. So this means a little bit like you may have 21 possible pins. On this 21, you can only have 7 at a time, which will be active. But this means that you can have a key which can interact with 21 wafers. So in fact, this system can work exactly the same way that modern dimple lock with mastering system works. This means that when you want to master your system, you don't create new gates or in wafers or add washers in the pinning system. What you will have to do is just to use a different position for some wafers depending on how you want to code your mastering system. So this means that it's not the lock which get the code for all the doors, for all the locking system. It's only the key. So you may have one who use all the wafers here, another one which use all the wafers here, another one all the wafers here, and after it can be a combination of the wafers on all the directions, and only the key which has the master bidding will be able to open the door. So this is all I have for you today. If you are interested in this kind of lock, you may look at my eBay store, since I may have some from time to time. If you want to see more videos like that, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or Facebook page. And if you want to see cool locks, pictures, and you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. All the links are in the description. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.